Hello friends, I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. Today I am doing a preview/review, depending on timing of things, of Death Valley Highs and Lows, a game by Kevin Ellenberg from Button Shy Games, and this is the second expansion to Death Valley. Button Shy, if you don't know, are just 18 card wallet games, so the whole game is 18 cards. Although this is an expansion, you can play as a standalone or added to the original Death Valley game. So I only have ever played this version of the game. I have not played the original Death Valley, so again, this is a standalone, or it can be combined with the original game. And I believe this game was part of their summer Kickstarter campaign, so depending on when these copies actually reach backers, that's kind of what sways whether this is a preview or a review or kind of a little bit of both, because I'm not sure. I didn't back it. I did get a review copy from Button Shy, and that is what I'm sharing with you right now. So what is Death Valley Highs and Lows? Well, as I mentioned before, it's an 18 card game. I haven't played the original game, but I'm sure the gameplay is exactly the same, but I'll run through that just in case you're unfamiliar. So how you play this game is it's a 1 or 2 player game. It's head-to-head generally in the 2-player game, and head-to-head in the 1-player game as well, and that's the way I played it. I didn't get a chance to play this as a real 2-player game either, so caveat my review with that as well. But the gameplay should play mostly similar. What you're going to do is you're going to shuffle all 18 cards and then make a desert deck of those cards, flipping over the top card. And then in sequential turns, you're going to take turns selecting either the card in the display or a card from the top of the deck to add to one of your 2 columns in front of you. One of those columns is going to be your journey through the desert. That's where you're going to have cards face up, and you're going to kind of see what your journey is doing. You're also going to have a lower run of cards below that, and that's going to be your scrapbook. And that is the other action you can do on your turn, is to rest and add to your scrapbook. So on a regular turn, you're going to take a card either from the face-up card in the desert or from the face-down deck, and then add it to your journey. When you add a card to your journey, it's going to add to your journey. The cards also have different abilities that could trigger at that time or at the end of the game, as written on the card. And there are 4 different symbols you're going to use, with the number of each symbol being 6, 5, 4, or 3 times occurring in the deck, and that is also visible on the card itself. Also on the card are the scoring points. They can be positive in stars or negative in the little, what do you want to call them? Steers, I guess, cattle image. So you're going to score up both your rows at the end of the game. Positives for stars, negatives for the cattle, and then any in-game bonus objectives. But you got to be mindful of your triggering abilities and the other abilities that could happen between you and your opponent. But the final thing you need to be mindful of is when you get 3 of the same symbol in either row, you are going to bust. And what happens when you bust is you're going to get the card that made you bust, i.e. the third of a symbol in that row, take that card and discard it. It's out of the game, no longer part of the game. Then you're going to take the rest of your journey cards, the whole journey you've been laying out through the desert, and shuffle them back into the deck. So all those points you thought you were going to get now go away. And that's all there is to the game. You're just building out the cards in your journey and in your scrapbook, trying not to bust either row or trying to set it up so your opponent busts. And then at the end of the game, you're going to count your score again, getting positives for the stars, negatives for the cattle, and then any additional in-the-game scoring objectives as written on the cards themselves. That's the whole game. The only difference between the solo game and the multiplayer game is the solo opponent doesn't do a scrapbook. They only build out their journey row. They're going to count cattle as positives, not negatives, and their actions are to either cause you to bust or to avoid them busting. And they're ignoring all the printed abilities on the cards. They're only paying attention to the symbols. And that's how you play Death Valley Highs and Lows. I imagine that's pretty similar to how you play the original Death Valley and the original expansion. So let's go ahead and get into what I think about this game. The gameplay I just covered. I think it's pretty simple, straightforward, easy to understand, easy to play. I could teach this game in about as long as that took, maybe even less if you're sitting here with me and asking or not asking questions. And you could probably play a mock hand real quick too and get into it even quicker than what I covered. gameplay is real fast and easy, and I really enjoy a little bit of thinking this, but not too much in it, in how you're playing out what you're drawing and where you're placing it, and when you want to rest. That's an important factor too. So gameplay, I enjoy it, pretty easy. Ingredients. What do I think of the ingredients? Well, the cards are traditional card stock. If you've played cards before, you know what the card stock is. It's not going to last you forever, but it'll last you through plenty of plays. And so standard button shy quality in that component. And the art as an ingredient, I really love the whimsical desert kind of pseudo lifelike art style that has brought forth into this game. The icons are very clear, easy to understand, easy to tell apart, and again, the art is just nice, subdued, whimsical watercolor style. So I really like the ingredients in this one. Z, is it easy to play? Yes, I think it is quite easy to play. As I mentioned, you're really just selecting a card or determining when to rest. Nothing complex about it. I really should have got my daughter to sit down and play with me before I did this review, now that I think about it. Because it's pretty straightforward, easy. The complexity comes from just making sure you're understanding, the triggering actions and, the bust capabilities and managing that aspect of it. More of it. Do I want more of it? Here's the thing with these 18 card, games, and it's true of pretty much all of them. Eventually, they kind of play out. You've seen the 18 cards. Of course, again, this is an expansion. You can add to the regular game, and maybe this is increasing that playability even that much more. So on its own, it will run out, but I don't think that's quick. You'll get your plays out of it. It's easy, it's quick, it's not expensive. So you'll get your plays out of it before you ever get tired of it. But because it is only 18 cards and you're doing the same kind of game over and over again, it probably will play itself out eventually. So as far as more of it, replayability, the replayability will run out, as a lot of these games do. But do I want to play it more right now? Absolutely, I do. I really enjoyed getting this one to the table, and kind of, again, I only played it alone, but just playing out the puzzle myself and trying to make the best of my capabilities. It is, in the solo mode, a bit of a beat your own score, but that's fine for what it is. It doesn't take up a lot of space on the table. It takes up even less space on the shelf, and so I really enjoy all these kind of button shy games. That's why I always keep going back to them, because they bring what I need to the table to give me something to play by myself in a short amount of time over and over again. And finally, originality. What do I think of its originality? I'm not sure it's super original. Again, this is a third or second expansion to Death Valley, so it's not even an original game of itself. I'm not sure what's added here. Again, I didn't play the original one, so I don't know what this one brings specifically to the table. As far as matching icons and scoring points off of cards, none of that is original. It's all kind of been done before. That doesn't mean I don't want to play this game over any of the other ones. It brings just a different little bit of game, for another one of these games I can fit in my pocket, take with me when I'm traveling. In fact, I did just recently. So just a lot of good stuff in a small package. Nothing super original about it, but I think it does enough to be added to my collection of similar style games and button shy games. All right, so this is where I would normally give my final overall rating, but because this is a review preview copy, I'm not going to give it an overall rating, so I'll just give my final thoughts that, as I mentioned just a moment ago, this is just another one of these 18 card games that I can play solo, puzzle out, play with another player, because it does play 2 players, probably even better at 2 players, I imagine, and take it with you anywhere. It fits in, in this little button shy wallet here that I just knocked over. So you can pocket it and take it with you when you go to dinner or whatever and play it real quick just to kill some time. It fits that role just as all these other button shy games do. That's why, again, I keep going back to them. I appreciate them offering me a preview copy, because now I can play this one and add it to the rotation with the other ones. So I really do enjoy getting this one to the table. I look forward to maybe getting my hands on the original and shuffling them all together and playing with an even bigger deck of options. So that's my review preview for Button Shy's latest Death Valley highs and lows. I hope you enjoy this review. If you do, give me a thumbs up. If you're not already a subscriber, subscribe below and come back and check out some more of my reviews and general board game content in the future. And I look forward to seeing you next time.